All right, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Talk to Tatiana show. And today I have Christina Walls. Welcome, Christina.
Hi, Tatiana. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show. So, Christina, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds great. I am a land investor and I am an ambassador for Land Profit Generator, which is the program and the system that I learned how to become a land investor. So that is at this point my main function.
That's awesome. So, you're apparently, not apparently, obviously an entrepreneur, wrong word,
Mhm.
an entrepreneur. When did you first start kind of transition into, or maybe just start out as a business owner? Tell us a little bit about your story kind of in the world of entrepreneurship.
Sure. So I started a business, like a service business. I don't know, it seems like 20 years ago. And I had just gone from being a stay-home mom where I wanted to be able to make sure I could afford to like send my son to any school that I wanted to. And I didn't want to cap on how much I could make. And I wanted the independence of being able to show up at his games and take him to school and this and that. So on some levels, my entrepreneurship started with my desire for freedom and to not have a cap on somebody telling me, oh, you can make $20 an hour. You got to come in Monday at 9 o'clock. I kind of wanted flexibility and freedom. And so I just, started a business, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I wanted the freedom. So that business ran its course and it served its purpose, meaning it got my son through the schools that I want him to go to. It gave me the freedom to be available, and but I did not love it. I kind of like grew to hate it. And I also struggled with growing it. So even though I was able to make pretty good money, I felt like I hit a ceiling and didn't know how to move beyond. So I wanted to move into real estate investing. And I had gone to some of the local real estate investor associations. Like once my son started driving, and I did not have to take him to school, I didn't have to take him to his ball games. It gave me a little more freedom. And I started attending classes on real estate investing. And I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I would sit there and I'd listen to these people talk about flipping these houses. And I just thought, wow, that's a lot of work. I wasn't all in with flipping, although I was attracted to the financial aspects of, making 60, 70,000 on a flip or 100,000 or whatever. So I went to a class one time and there was it was on land investing. And there was a guy named Jack Bosch he and his wife, Michelle Bosch, are the founders of a system, a program called Land Profit Generator. And as I was sitting there listening to him, and he was talking about how you can do it remotely, how the spread is equal to any house flipping, how you don't have to like replace cabinets, you don't have to like redo floors, you don't have to go to Lowe's 100 times for paint or whatever. And a couple was sitting in front of me, and they had just gotten to the program, and in a short period of time, they just flipped a piece of land, and they just closed on a $20,000 deal. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, look, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I signed up for the program, and I was all in, and I did my first deal in 30 days and made $8,000. And I realized that it was just something I could just keep repeating. And once I learned it, but one of the aspects that I struggled with in the land was growing my business again, hit the ceiling. And so I had gone to the Land Profit Generator, and they have coaches. And after about a year and a half, I hired a coach to help me scale my business. And then that had, I had business experience, but I didn't have business experience, meaning like I didn't know what, I knew how to do certain things, but I didn't know how to grow a business. I could negotiate, I could do deals, I could do contracts, but to scale my business and double my income, I kind of felt lost and I didn't know what I can control and what I couldn't control. And so I got a coach through Land Profit Generator, and it was kind of a deal changer for me. Definitely.
That's awesome. I love that. So I think that many entrepreneurs, even though some of them don't relate to this word entrepreneur, because it's kind of like, it seems like it's kind of distant and big and stuff. And some people just have a side gig or whatever. And I think that all of that starts with the desire to be free, to be flexible with the time. And that certainly is the case for me, and certainly is the case for everyone, every business owner I know. So I totally can connect to your story in the sense that when I quit my CPA firm, I always knew I wanted to work for myself, kind of, but I wanted to be with my kids during the day when they were little, and that was important for me. So thanks so much for sharing your story, and I love what you said about choosing the school that you want, being there for your kids' bowl games, because those are the things that are important, and those are the things that being your own boss can really make available for you.
Yes.
That's really cool. When you started your first business, were there anything that you struggled with? Any specific, maybe specific aspect, or anything that surprised you, whether it was a good surprise or a bad surprise?
So in my first business, a few things surprised me. One is how quickly you can grow when you market. But that comes with another set of problems, which is it was a service industry. So now I needed crews. Oh my goodness. Hiring crews was like the thorn in my side all the way through. All the way through in a service industry where somebody's doing manual labor, and you're overseeing them and you're giving them instructions. I don't think I'm unique at all in having a service industry and having crews doing manual labor. Probably it was probably one of the most challenging parts of it. And on some levels, I just kind of got tired of babysitting. Is kind of how it felt. And so whenever I made the change, I'm like, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to learn new skills. I'm going to pay the price to level up. I'm going to, and I committed to learning a different way, because first and foremost, I also saw that doing real estate investing has so much better return. It just does. And it's exciting. You're doing deals, and then you get into a whole new arena of people with a totally different mind frame. And all of a sudden, you're doing deals and you're making, sometimes as much as some people make in a whole year on one deal. And it just boosts your confidence, and it changes how you view the world, how you view yourself, how you view just life in general. And you start going through this dynamic change in terms of how your confidence changes. So in my second business, probably the greatest asset, aside from, making money, which is good, but the better asset was the personal growth that I did not see coming. Through the Land Profit Generator, I got connected with people who were, millionaires who were just doing incredibly large deals. In my world, 100,000 deals are a pretty big deal to me, and all of a sudden our conversations weren't just about these deals, but they were about what is it that's inside of me that's blocking me to get to that next phase? What is it where's my mind frame off? Where am I hindered at? And the support and the community that I experienced and have been experienced and still experience within the land flipping community, we call LPG, land profit generator, inside of the LPG program, has been just astonishing, in terms of personal growth and business growth, because I truly believe, like, as you grow as a person and personally, your business is going to grow because you're expanding and your business will expand as well. And it's been a great experience
What
for
do
me.
you
I'm not done with the journey either.
That's awesome. And I mean, you coach now other people who go through the program. So I'm wondering if if you notice when first um, people who are the right fit for that program, for example, when they first um, get in, what is their number one struggle as they get into the program or as they get into this completely new industry? What is something that they struggle with, or just kind of blocks them from going after that, what you just described, higher self-confidence, more money, and flexibility?
So, to be quite honest, when you start something new, sometimes there's new technical things you need to learn. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's software, sometimes it's the actual how to. The LPG program and system is really good because it's step by step. Step one, step two, step three. It lays it out in a way that anybody can do it. But you still have to take that action. So sometimes people get scared to take certain steps simply because they've never done it before, or there's certain steps you're being asked to take that make you feel uncomfortable because it's new. Like we make low offers on land, and sometimes we get like cursed out. People are negative towards us, and then some people are very positive. So you have to be able to to remove your emotions from the situation, and you also have to commit to learning. So when people start, if they're not really committed to the learning process, then they're going to struggle. And oftentimes, whenever it's something uncomfortable, we make excuses as to why we're not doing it. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I worked all day. Look, I was a single mom. I ran a business. I had a son in 3 sports. I would leave early in the morning, come home late at night, and still was able to bust it out, because I was committed and I wanted to change. So sometimes what we're dealing with are people's resistance you have to be uncomfortable, and you have to realize that in order to grow, you got to be uncomfortable, and you're going to be uncomfortable. So even though I'm coaching students on the how to, this is what you do with an Excel spreadsheet. This is how you get a list. This is how you do your deals. It's oftentimes, what is it that's hindering you? Why are you not taking the steps needed to get your property on the market? To make your offers, to do whatever. And it's usually the man in the mirror. It's not the system itself. It's the person that's having their own set of hindrances. So having, as a person, gone through those and overcome and still overcoming, I understand it, but I also know that unless you get through that barrier, you will remain just where you are and you will not achieve what you want to in life. And so for me, that's kind of like the most beautiful aspect. So when my students are suffering, I slightly kind of think it's sexy because I know that on the other side is what they want. You know what I mean? It's like you got to get to that other side. You can't be in fear, So even though, like, I understand their pain, because nobody, whenever you're suffering, when you're in turmoil and adversity and you're learning new things, it's terrible. You feel terrible. But I also know that I've broke through enough of those doors that unless I get through that door, my life will never change. And I want people's lives to change. And that's what this the land profit generator was. That was, again, one of the bigger surprises. Yeah, they taught me how to start a new career, but it also opened doors up for me as an entrepreneur and what really matters in terms of getting what you want in this life. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. And what I like, what you said that really resonated with me was the commitment aspects. I think that in anything that we do, commitment is the critical factor, at least in my opinion, that's what it is. Because, I mean, I did an episode with an interview with a friend of mine who also happens to live in Florida. Um, she was a president of the Photographers Association, whatever, professional photographers. And she talked about the fact that so many people perceive certain professions like art, music, art, being an actor, being a whatever, director, to be destined for poverty. But I think that that commitment component is the critical factor. That's what decides whether you are, as an artist, are in poverty or not. Same thing with this. A single mom can create a life that she wants.
Oh, sure.
Um, with something like this, a program that would allow her or anyone really create something, a business, and really build a life, build a business around their life. And I think that, and I thank you for sharing this. I think it's a really great opportunity to do that with having flexibility at the same time.
And one of the things about being a single mom is there were some years where like I was totally in survival mode. And I remember I had moved and I said, you know what? I'm going to get the car I want. I'm going to get the furniture I want. I'm going to live where I want and I'm going to figure out how to do it. And that was part of the commitment, because I have a friend that was in a very similar situation but she was in insurance, but once she committed, oh my gosh, her business blew up, and the same with me. I committed to learning. It's like a marriage. You have to like be in it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's honestly a great marriage because you're committed to yourself. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. But some of the things you have to do that, like when I went into the coaching, it was not cheap. It was expensive. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I got to pay for this. And I said, whatever, and I thought to myself, look, I'm going to spend that money on something. I might as well spend it on improving myself, growing my business, and it's giving it back to me double, triple, whatever. There's no value on it. So now, like where probably in the past I would have been a little more nervous to spend money, I will spend that money. You know what I mean? I will, because I know that like if I'm investing in myself, if I'm investing in my future, again, you had mentioned about I have created a business around how I want to live. If I want to travel next month, I can buy a plane ticket. I don't have to save up. I don't have to like ask somebody, can I have the time off? I can just go because I have created a business the way I want to live. And whew, thank God.
That's amazing. It's very inspiring. I think that a lot of people who listen to this podcast maybe are just thinking about potentially someday having a business. Maybe some have started out or just starting out. And I think that it's important to see how far you can go. So I thank you for sharing your story. And can you talk a little bit about, besides coaching and land deals, I believe that's what you focus on now, right? So if you can talk about a little the ideal client for you, if someone's listening, let's say, and they find themselves thinking, well, I am that person, who would that person be?
So there's two sides to this. My ideal client is anybody that owns land. Or if they're interested in learning how to do land investing, the ideal client is somebody that wants to get into investing so that you can do it remotely. I've closed deals in Italy. I've closed deals on skiing in Colorado. I've been able to close deals. So if you want to get into real estate investing as an investor, that would be a client. You know what I mean? Because I'm here as an ambassador for the Land Profit Generator program. And the support that you get if you want a business also where you have an incredible support that genuinely from the founders down wants to see you succeed. And in the program, and there's a Facebook group, there's coaching. There's so much support. And I think I had you may have it, but if not, I had a link. If somebody even just wants to learn about the website, like there's a free webinar where somebody can just go just to get introduced. And can I give that to you? Can I say it? Okay. It's
Absolutely. And I'll put it in the show notes. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. It's www.landflippingfund.com. And that just gets you hooked up with the group. That's all it does. And then from there, once you watch the webinar and you see what it's about, I would say reach out to me reach out to me on Facebook, Christina Walls, and I can connect you with the group, the Facebook group, and you can kind of view it for a while. But the system absolutely works, so that would be my client for the land profit generator. And for me as a business owner, it would be anybody that owns land.
All right, Christina, thanks so much for sharing that. I'll put that in the show notes. And I appreciate you taking the time to give me your interview. And I thank you for sharing your story. I think it's very inspiring. And any closing notes that you would like to leave people listening with?
Probably the only closing note would kind of resonate with our talk today would go create a business based around how you want to live. And that is 100% possible. But you may have to do a little bit of mind frame work to get there, but it's totally possible.
I love it. All right. Thanks so much. This was Tatiana and Christina Walls. And thanks so much for being a guest. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.